Happy Friday to everybody. You're watching Talking Horses. Acacia Colon alongside Anthony Stabile. Anthony's vacation continues.
These are the best weeks. I mean it when I say it. I look forward to Andy being away, but I love it when he's here too.
Of course.
But I get to spend time with one of my favorite people on the entire planet, and it's been that way for about 6.5 years now. And we did not plan.
I know.
We matched Wednesday night for Canterbury.
We did.
We match again today. We did not plan this.
We're just trying to bring you an aesthetically pleasing set.
I'm trying to remember what happened yesterday. I don't think we matched yesterday.
No.
Right.
I forget what I was wearing.
I mean,
gray. I think I was
the A train is usually in some sort of unison. There are even days like we're big iced coffee buffs. There are even days when, like, if Acacia's not in the mood, I'm usually not in the mood either. But days when I'll call and be like, hey, I'm getting iced coffee. Oh, my God, I'd love one. So
yesterday it was the peanut M&Ms that he got me before America's Day at the Races.
She's my little sister. It's nice to be able to go to work and work with family. So
couldn't agree more.
It's
the
nice.
A-Train pulling into the station,
Choo-choo.
and we're ready to roll. As we want to remind everybody first, some housekeeping off the top of the show. You can play along with everything as far as what we'll be talking today. Get that Naira Bets account ready. Sign up using promo code MATCH200. Get up to a $200 deposit match bonus. Go to NairaBets.com. Download the app for more details. And we also have plenty of things going on over there at Naira Bets, the 5 days a week bonus. Bet all week. You have to opt in on Monday. Bet all week. You get a $20 bonus on Saturday.
I will give out a play a day, Monday through Friday next week. Couldn't do it this week. I was a little banged up, my sun poisoning. But we will take care of that. We'll help you get along. We gave you plenty of help this week. We had 3 America's Day at the Races shows, including today. But we'll definitely have a little something. You know me. I can't just make it a straight win bet or an exacta box. I'm going to get a little goofy for you next week, especially on Monday and Tuesday. But yeah, check Naira Bets Twitter. Head over to Naira Bets, and there'll be a play every day to help you get along with this bonus.
Great opportunity to take part in there. Hope you're playing along with everything on Naira Bets. We also have the Belmont Saturday contest back. It's a $300 buy-in. You have until 5 p.m. today to register. Naira.com/contests.
Yeah, so just a little under 5.5 hours. These are a lot of fun. Acacia can't play, so you guys are safe. I can't play, so you guys are stuck. It's with 300 dead money not in the pool. But these are an awful lot of fun. 2 more left after tomorrow here at beautiful Belmont Park. And then, of course, we'll keep it going up at the old spa. I'm imagining we're going to have the Thursday and Sunday low rollers at Saratoga as well. They are very, very popular. But this is a fun contest with the cash and seats available as well. Always very important to keep the ball rolling with those seat prizes also.
And finally, kicking off at 12:30 today. From 12:30 to 5:30, we are on FS2, America's Day at the Races. The A-Train will kick things off. We're in the early portion of the show. First couple of races together before I head down, start reporting. But we look forward to all of that coming up. We also look forward to today's card. Some really nice races on tap, including a New York bred 2-year-old race that we'll get to momentarily. But, Anthony, the day kicks off in a good way with the maiden special weight on the main track going a mile for the New York bred fillies and mares. Let's start with the horse that you like, the number 3, Mrs. Boomers. We have her first race. She was a distant second behind Fingal's Cave, who we'll see back tomorrow. But she, I thought, actually sat a pretty good trip, a little bit green, maybe a little bit unfocused, but finished up pretty well to be second that day, get some more ground this afternoon.
Yeah, so the other first that drowned her this day, I mean, obviously, Fingal's Cave came to play. Now, it was a late scratch in this race, too, right? Do you remember this?
I do. I wasn't in the paddock for that race, but I believe that you're correct on that one.
So Fingal's Cave ran really well. This filly, for a barn that does not really perform with its first-time starters, she ran okay. Second-time starters don't really improve that much. With that said, I felt like there was room for improvement off of her first race. Bavarian Cream is going to be the other horse to take money in here, and she's had a few chances already, and quite frankly, I thought Mrs. Boomer's debut was enough to build on to handle Bavarian Cream's best. So I landed with the horse who is probably going to be the favorite.
And you're right, Royal Currency, the late scratch. She would have been one who would take a lot of money in that May 21st race. I agree with you about Bavarian Cream. I've just kind of seen enough of her. I think that she has
Well,
run
you
some
have a
good
fourth.
races. And I took a little bit of a shot with a filly down to the inside who is going turf to dirt. I'm not sure what to make about it's a lot of changes today, but I really thought that she would appreciate getting some more distance to go with today. That was my main thing with her. On the pedigree, you can kind of go either way. All three of the winning siblings were both turf and dirt winners. The most accomplished was Sneaky Kitten, who's by Kitten's Joy. So you could see more of a turf influence there. This filly's by Tiz now. Dylan Davis going to be aboard. She didn't have a good break. She was also 5-1 that day.
Took money that day.
She did. And I thought that she was just a little bit interesting at a price. I thought Mrs. Boomer really intriguing. Will take money off of that second place finish on debut. But Lola, I thought could be intriguing, getting a little bit more ground.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to try and talk you off anybody in here because, the numbers for the Bond Barn overall right now, not great. And the second time starter number's not great as well. We talked about Bavarian Cream. I guess Capital Gal's a little interesting, though. They were trying to get, she caught the money track, and that was one of her better performances. I know it wasn't her fastest fig, but it was one of her better performances. It's kind of a weak race as well. I thought it was, again, reluctantly like Mrs. Boomer, but this is the kind of race where I would not talk you off anybody.
Race 2, a mile on the main track, $12,500 claiming race for fillies and mares. As we take a look, and we're a little bit all over the place in this race, let's look at Veradia, who Caitlin Gutterson, the assistant to Jeffrey Engelhart, deputizing here, as this one does come down back to the Naira circuit from a big win at the Finger Lakes last time out.
Yeah. She also went 2 turns last time, which is something she had never really done down here. She ran a couple of 2-turn races up at the Finger Lakes last year as well. I don't know. I just felt like she needed the race off the 10 weeks, 2 starts back. That Lady by Choice Barista Vixen race probably a little tougher than this bunch, even though it was for 10 and this is for 12.5. I think the 1-turn mile is going to suit her as well. She's 4 for 11 at the distance. Some of those races are upstate, and part of that 2-turn mile and 70-yard distance, those mile and 7, it's within a 16th of a mile, under a 16th of a mile. So those races kind of fall into line with the mile. With the mile on the PPs. I thought she made a lot of sense. She's 3-1 on the morning line. I mean, I wouldn't want to make a line for this race. I have no idea how the public is going to bet this race.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough race.
I kind of, like you said, about the distance. That was my thought process with Matula, who I know it was a restricted non-winners of 3 race last time out. They had to take her to Parks to get the win, but when she was racing at Aqueduct prior to that, she was racing against Tougher for 25 and 35 non-winners of 3 types. She's one that is 2 for 2 going the 1-turn mile at Belmont. She has handled it on a fast track, on a wet track, and I just kind of felt like her win last time out was also a reflection of the step forward in the progression we've seen with the Cantramachi barn. Starting off was a little bit cool throughout the meet, then really things have been picking up. Had the win last time out. She has a little bit of speed from the inside, can sit a good trip under Trevor McCarthy, and just the fact that she's kind of turned things around, got the win last time out, and back to the 1-turn mile that I think really should suit her quite well.
Yeah, so her race goes through Foxtail. Right, Matula's fast enough that she can set the pace in here. Foxtail has some back class and plenty of speed to be the speed in here. Now, Foxtail has been less than reliable as of late.
Did have a good race 2 starts back.
She did. She had a good race 4 starts back. She had a good race 2 starts back. But she has the race 2 starts back. We don't see her for 7 weeks, and she has the race last time, and now we don't see her for another 8 weeks. Maybe she comes back to a good race. She has races on memory that would crush these horses. She's the back class of the field. She's the filly that has the mare, I should say, that has the race in her where she could just go to the lead or sit a second to Matula and crush. It's almost like a coin flip now as to if that version of Foxtail is going to show up.
Well, let's show the race 2 starts back, March 6th, where she finished second. She was pretty game that day. And one thing I noticed from Jose Lascano is that he asked her early on. He kind of hustled her out of the gate to set the pace, and then was kind of passed. She settled in 3rd. She was game, but she was beaten by Indian Bella, who obviously is in good form, stepped up, and Indian Bella won that $25,000 race last time, whereas Foxtail was a no-show in that effort. So I agree with you. It's kind of like she can't, though she was technically stepping up in class last time out, she can't really kind of put back-to-back good races together. I just don't know if she really is as quick early on as she once was.
She might not be. But it's not like Matula
No,
is
I don't
consistent.
disagree.
You know what I mean?
I don't disagree.
And if Jose Lezcano wants it, the lead's his. We'll see how it shakes out. That was part of the reason I liked Verity. I think going the one-turn mile, she's going to be laying third behind Matula and Foxtail. Could be laying second if one of them doesn't go. I just thought she made a lot of sense in here.
Race number 3, a fun maiden special weight going a mile on the turf for 3-year-olds and upward. We both land on the same horse, Fort Ticonderoga. We haven't seen him since July of last year, so nearly a year since he's been on the racetrack. But I remember his first race back on the first race on July 10th, and he actually ran okay behind Dr. Jeff that day. But, I mean, the pedigree is there. He looks like a turf horse. He's the brother to Doswell, and he gets on the surface that you'd think would be the preferred one today.
Stakes winner Secretariat War as well. Yeah, he gets his Lasix. He stretches out. He gets Jose Ortiz. A lot of good things in here. He also comes out of a race where Dr. Jeff went to the lead, and I would imagine this was going to have some speed. There's no speed really on paper in here, Acacia. Coming back fresh, coming out of the sprints, I would imagine he's going to be on the lead in here. Maybe Crimson Rocket, who showed some speed in an off-the-turf race in the mud last time out here at Belmont Park. Quick turnaround for Crimson Rocket. Belmont, 3 weeks. That's not something we ordinarily see. But he's getting this horse on the grass down here. And I would imagine this race leaves the gate 4-5. I would like the 4 to keep going. I don't have any 5s like you. You and I kind of saw the race similarly in here. I mean, Growth Capital has the 2 turf races where if he improves, he's going to win.
He does get the blinkers on, and we'll watch the last race from Keeneland. And to your point about the speed, 2 starts back in his debut at Gulfstream, Lamakino wired the field, and he just couldn't get to him. It's actually amazing that horse won that race like he did, whereas last time at Keeneland, he had an outside post. He was a little bit wide on the first turn, kind of started moving early. The winner got the jump on him, and he had to settle for second. There he is closing on the outside. He's run 2 good races so far. The blinkers go on. You wonder if the blinkers on with Irad Ortiz, it wants to kind of get him rolling a little bit earlier, get him into the fray. I can't imagine he's going to set the pace.
No.
But you'd want him to be a little bit closer than he was last time.
He doesn't really look like he has that big of a kick.
No. He doesn't have an acceleration.
Getting him closer would be beneficial, you would think. And I think that's what Chad's thinking with the blinkers. You know, he'll also take some feedback from Irad. I wonder if Irad, who rode this horse both at Gulfstream and Keeneland, said, hey, boss, let's put a pair of blinkers on this horse, get him a little bit more mobile early on in the going here. That would behoove him in here because there's not a lot of speed signed on in this race.
Behoove, a good word.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like that.
Hooves.
Oh, I see what you did there. See what you did there. Meanwhile, Smoke and Heat. This one tried the turf for the first time last time out for Tony Dutrow. And there's a little bit of turf pedigree on the bottom side for sure. Actually ran pretty well, finishing third behind Devil's Outlaw, who was a Chad Brown runner at a short price.
He ran on nicely. I like the 6-7, 7 to the mile now, even though the first race was on dirt. Still incremental. He actually ran pretty well on the dirt first time out in the mud. 6-7, 7-8 now. I thought he made some sense. Let's see. He had a little bit more of a kick to me than Growth Capital did. I don't know if that helps or hurts in here. He just does not seem to have any kind of early run. And again, I think this pace is going to be moderate at best. I mean, saying that around here is like Mr. Obvious, but this one especially, because there just doesn't seem to be a lot of early gas in here.
This is a fun race. You've got Most Wanted Man, who finished I thought a kind of slow third at Tampa on his debut back in February. We haven't seen him since. Belmont has 2. You mentioned Crimson Rocket. Nothing to see here. Quickly, you have him in 4th, but he's the one with the pedigree that have to stays in Vegas.
Yes, stays in Vegas, multiple graded stakes winner. Comes out of a dirt race that's produced a couple of next out winners as well. Yeah, I thought, and I couldn't believe his price on the morning line. If he's the longest shot on the board, I'll throw him in a backup pick 5 ticket.
It could be interesting as well. That'll be a fun race. In race 3, we have New York bred first level allowance race, and the 4th, a mile and a 16th on the main track, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. Let's start with Carrigate as we do. Did I pull the replay for this one? I did. Carrigate and Mia Be a Star coming out of this race back on May 27th. Mia Be a Star finishing just a nose behind No Chalk at a huge price that day. This was Carrigate finishing third after setting the pace that afternoon. The blinkers go back on as she tried the Gazelle 2 starts back.
I didn't know what to do with this race.
I didn't either.
Right? This is the kind of race where you watch this replay and you're just like, what went on?
What happened?
What was this? What's going on here? You got this 43-1 shot. Mia Be a Star making this big late run with
She
a really
nearly
good.
got there too.
She got a good ride too. Heeman did nothing wrong. Right? I mean, Carrigate's race was just kind of like, yeah. Right? I mean, this is the horse you put on top and I put third, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah. When you go back to that race, and for a single race, that's the most important last out race for this heat. I mean, you look at what Sister Linda did, and you see who she ran against first time out, and Venti Valentine's going to be third choice in the Mother Goose here tomorrow. And I know she got beat a long way, but obviously something was amiss that day. She comes back and she wins by a pole in her return off of a 6+ month layoff. And if we're sitting here talking about the Carrigate Be a Star race saying, Sister Linda comes back with a similar effort, and you got to imagine she's going to be ultra tough today. Starts to pick 6, by the way.
Sister Linda, who did win last time out. Again, a lot of Michelle Nevin's horses while she was serving a suspension went to Horacio de Paz in the interim. So this is a horse that's been with Michelle pretty much all along. And it goes back to something we were talking about yesterday with those horses that come off of the layoff for Michelle's barn with a big win, and then you wonder if they can repeat that kind of performance.
Right.
And I was actually in the paddock for her race on May 30th, and just thought maybe she wasn't 100% fit. She was a little bit agitated prior. She was just not completely settled. And then she wins by 12 and a half
By a
lengths.
dozen lengths,
So
right.
to think that she could potentially progress from that, if maybe she wasn't 100% cranked up that day, would kind of be a scary thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she does not. This is not the toughest day other than bunch she is going to face.
We'll see if she's able to get the win. Let's go on to race 5 because we have 2-year-olds in the spotlight here, as we did have a key scratch, a Gambling Girl. She will run in the Open Company 2-year-old race tomorrow
It
instead.
should be a 10-6-2-7, guys.
10-6-2-7 for Anthony. This is the New York bred maiden special weight going 5 furlongs. You do have the number 11 MCRR draw in, so you have now just one with experience. The rest first-time starters. You go to I'm Wide Awake.
Yeah. I've had a little success with the Tony Dutrow firsters this meet. Source has a steady, yet not spectacular work there. Reaching out for Joel Rosario. According to my PPs, 2 starts together in the last 18 months. Not a lot.
Yeah.
But I think when you reach out for a rider of Joel's caliber, you mean business in here. None of these work tags, there wasn't a ton of pedigree in here that really caught my eye. And I just went with something that's been a little successful at the meet for me in what looks like a crapshoot, especially now with Gambling Girl out of there.
You know what I thought was interesting is that Tony Dutrow with 2-year-old first-time starters recently is 1 for 23 winning, but 12 for 23 in the money.
Wow.
So they're running well. It's not like I don't think you can
More than
necessarily
half of them-
hang your
more
hat
than
on
half
that
have
and
hit
say
the
that they're
board.
not running well. They're
Right.
obviously running well, which is interesting. I went to Quick Chaos, sold at the New York bred Saratoga yearling sale last summer, colt by Unified, who had his first crop last year. Just kind of what you said, and I looked, there really wasn't an abundance of pedigree in the first couple generations. There was back going to the 3rd generation. This one has had a pretty lengthy work tap too. He came in as probably one of the earlier 2-year-olds to get ready for the meet here, but I thought that the last couple works were strong. I like that the June 5th from the gate work, 48-4, a strong 5 furlong work, 2 back, and then last time 48-2 from the poles. And I thought that this one had the look of a horse that was going to be ready.
Yeah, 6s and 10s for me mostly. Dee's Speedster from the rail now. I don't love the inside draws necessarily. Those the quickest way around there. She had a good gate work on over the training track back on May 25th. A quick 3/8, 35 and some change. Maybe Flavian Pratt tries to get her out of there from the inside draw. She was the 3rd horse for me, but mostly 6 and 10 for me.
The 5 I want to mention quickly, 10 Cent Town, because Bill Morey is 32% with 2-year-olds. And he faced a filly against the boys a couple weeks ago, who I think ran second, by Redsdale, whose progeny, he's only had 2 starters so far as a stallion. But I remember looking at a couple of his offspring at the 2-year-old sales. This one worked 10-1 at OBS April. So I thought this colt could be a little bit interesting. Watch the board and see what kind of money he takes, I think.
Yeah, you can take a look at that for the late pick. I like the fact that this race is in the starts the late pick 5, because at least you get to see the tote board and if any of the first is taking any kind of action.
Yeah. New York bred 2-year-old race in the 5th. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll talk about the late pick 4 sequence on Talking Horses.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, Anthony and Acacia, as we get ready for the late pick 4 on the turf. 7 furlongs, New York.
What color is that pen? Is that blue or purple?
This?
Yes.
Blue. Purple?
Yeah. No, if it was a purple pen, I would have stole it.
Well, thank God I'm safe. The important things on the set here. 200 dead allowance in this New York red. 6 straight, 7 furlongs on the grass. And let's take a look at Finest Works. We have the replay of this filly's effort last time out. Oh, that is a large bug. That's a large bug on the set here. There we go. We're just going to do that. nothing happened. I
Brush
just
the dirt off your shoulders,
We're good.
Acacia. That's all. Brush the bug off your desk.
Finest Work had a big win last time out. 5-month layoff, first time for George Weaver.
Kind of had a good trip here, right? Mm-hmm. Got the job done, off the layoff. Now, this was at the tail end of this barn going really, really well. And the barn's cooled off considerably. I didn't love this effort, if I'm being honest with you. I really didn't. I thought this horse just got a good trip and kind of wore down the horses in front of her. I don't know. She's going to be a short price off the win, too. She's the second choice on the morning line with the scratches. Yeah, I don't know. She really wasn't for me today. I get it. She ran well. First start as a 4-year-old. Maybe she's moving forward and she's improving, but she had things too easy last time, I thought.
It's funny because your non-love, I guess, of Finest Work is kind of how I feel about Miss Alacrity.
I don't blame you.
I nearly put Dancing with Daffodils on top in this race. Unfortunately, she's out. But Miss Alacrity, I know that her only turf win was in a stake and the Miss Colleen as a 2-year-old. And she's one that I really wonder, coming back at Woodbine. I thought the race was okay last time. I just didn't really know what to do with her, if we were going to see her take a step forward as a 3-year-old.
Well, the Woodbine race I thought was interesting for the simple fact that Wesley kind of legs them up a little bit on the all-weather. And he trains them on the all-weather. Now, here's what was strange. She was at Woodbine earlier this year. And then shipped down to the Belmont string, worked a handful of times here at Belmont, shipped up there to run, and she ran up there rather, and then shipped down here to stay with this string. To me, that looked just like a gimme. She needed a race, and now she's back on the turf, which I think is her preferred surface. The maiden win was good. I'm going to throw out the speakeasy out in California. A was against the boys. B, she lost all chance when she didn't leave the gate well. She's gone in here. I mean, if Pure Bodie's the second speed in this race, she is long, long gone. And I thought that was going to give her a big edge. I thought the race on the all-weather up at Woodbine was going to leg her up nicely, and I thought she was long gone in here. I understand why you wouldn't like her. I like her a lot today.
She does have that early speed, and Wesley does ship horses all over the place a lot, too. But I agree. You would think that race at Woodbine on the Tapeta last time would be a spot for her to potentially take a step forward, though in stakes company she finished 5th that day. Show Me the Honey was one that she's coming in off of a layoff. She raced later into the turf season, running until December 2nd, making her first start of 2022. She did win first time out, which I thought was interesting as well, that she could potentially be one who maybe will be readier than maybe some of the ones we're used to seeing off the bench.
And off a similar layoff last year,
Yeah.
she had a ton of trouble. She didn't break alertly. Manny Franco lost his stick.
He went right into the New York Stallion Series, too.
Right into the Stallion Series. It was this diet of Stallion Series races. Yeah, I almost put her on top as well. But I think Miss Alacrity just has such a tactical advantage on her and the rest that I went there. But this is 9s and 8s for me. And it's a long way back to Social Whirl and Finest Work, if I'm being honest.
Race number 7 today, a mile and a 16th on the main track. $16,000 claiming race for 3-year-olds and upward. We have 2s and 4s. The number 4, It's All Relevant, does look like the main speed in here, stretching back out in distance.
Yeah, there's another race where Andy hates when I talk about 2-horse races, but it would be really hard for me to envision anyone except It's All Relevant and Peruvian Boy. And with Lil Commissioner coming out of here, it makes It's All Relevant's job that much more easy in here. Because even if a horse like Auburn Hills or Mr. Winston wants to try to go to the lead, it's not like It's All Relevant can't just sit, right? I think he'll be in front, but he could sit if needed to. And if anybody but Peruvian Boy picks him up, I'm probably going to be tearing my proverbial Naira Bets tickets.
I don't think there's any chance that It's All Relevant is not in front. He's a bit of a runoff. He's got that early speed. The only reason he wasn't in front right out of the gate last time is because he stumbled at the start, but stretching back out in distance too, plus that drop in class. I like Peruvian Boy less now that Lil Commissioner is out, but I do think that he's coming in off of just facing so much better last time. And after getting off to a poor start, he just looked so uncomfortable throughout that race, was just totally out of it. Dylan Davis takes the call. I know that this is a horse they claim for 35. He's in for the 16 in here. This is open company. It was in those non-winners of 3 condition prior. Thought that he was going to be one kind of in that first flight just behind the pace setters with Dylan aboard. But like I said, the fact that Lil Commissioner is out does make his job a little bit tougher.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a little behind the 8 ball now.
On to race number 8, feature race of the day, New York bred, first level allowance, a mile and an 1/8 on the inner turf in here. And I was laughing when I looked at your picks because I said, is it finally the day for Meseta?
This hurt.
Did it pain you picking him?
It hurt. And this is the race I took the longest with because I didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to. I bet a lot of money on this horse last time. And he...
I liked him in the Woodhaven, too.
Stunk.
Yeah.
He stunk. I'm going to give him one more chance. But believe me, the divorce papers are ready. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary with Lil Kim with my new car yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Her and I are solid. Me and Meseta, not so much. On the front seat of Lil Kim are the divorce papers from Meseta. I'm done. Because I didn't want to do this today. I did not want to pick him today. But I go back and look at Rally Squirrel's last race, and I can't really pick him. I go back and look at Timbuktu. I guess I could have made more of a case for Timbuktu. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's just he's just a little slow. Yeah, he's just a little slow, right? I've had enough of Breadman. I really have had enough of Breadman.
Yes.
I couldn't. I mean, Lord Flincher.
Yeah.
So, Meseta, last chance, my friend. This is it.
I felt kind of the same way about this race. I think Lord Flincher and Rally Squirrel out of that race look better than they actually are. That's my theory on them.
I couldn't agree. That's the best way.
Yeah.
That race has just a stink of being just dressed. It's dressed up, and it's not even that good of a race.
It is. It is. And I know Barrage was the one to beat in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of the ones to beat,
one
for
of
sure.
The ones, yeah, one of the ones. And you kind of look and say, wow, Lord Flincher almost got there. But
I know. Believe me, this race my hand trembled when I wrote the 2 on the top of my PPs. Trembled. Andy and I talk about the skip button. And this is one of the more competitive races of the day.
Yeah.
Probably on the card, the race that is the most bettable with the big field on the turf, I would hit that skip button as fast as I possibly could. I don't want to pick Meseta, but I had to.
I like a price in here.
I see that.
I like this race, actually. 12-1 on the morning line. I'm going with Agent Creed, who's a horse that I've always liked when he started his career last year down in Florida, following him here in the New York circuit. Michelle Hemingway has taken over a lot of the Newtown Annerstud horses. And I mentioned this the other day on America's Day at the Races. If you're not familiar with Michelle, her father, Ian Hemingway, was a trainer for a long time. She was really successful as a consigner, particularly with 2-year-old sales. She's a really good judge of horses. She's had a couple that have been really well meant coming here to New York as well. Had a really a good price winner towards the end of the Aqueduct meet before we came over here to Belmont Park. And this horse had a sneaky trip last time out. I know it says blocked in the short comment as well, but and he's typically not one that shows a lot of speed. Got slammed at the break. He was wide on the turn. I don't think he was really blocked, but he thought that he looked so uncomfortable in the position where he was, and he actually finished a little bit between horses too. I'm intrigued by this horse. Like I said, I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for him. Luis Saez takes the call, and more than anything in a race where I think some of the familiar runners are tough to trust and maybe a little dressed up, this is a horse I know will be a good price.
Gotta go 9 furlongs off the 6.5 months, 7 months.
Physically, I think that's what he's always wanted.
All right.
Personally.
Well, listen, I'm not going to talk you off anybody in here, and you talked me into using him on a backup ticket.
Frontline Dancer. We'll take a look at his race real quick because I think he's another example of a horse just by virtue of the fact that he's trained by Todd Fletcher that will take some attention in this race. Kind of made that middle move, closing on his left lead. Got up to win off the layoff. Waters are much deeper today.
Andy liked him last time. He ran well. I don't know about that bunch that he beat last time. Yeah. We'll see. I would imagine. This horse will be a little bit closer today as well. There's not a ton of gas in here, and maybe off the layoff, this horse needed the race last time. He ran well enough last time.
Yep.
We didn't talk about the pace scenario. I do wonder if Joel just puts Rally Squirrel on the front end and says, "Come on, try and get me, boys." That would be the most prudent thing I think to do. He's the morning line favorite. Has not a lot of speed. That's what I would do. We'll see how this race is. This could definitely become a rider's race.
Very interesting eighth race for sure. As we go on to race number 9 today, it's a maiden special weight 7/8 on the turf, and you've got a couple of horses coming out of this common race on May 27th. We'll take a look at it quickly. Highlighting at the break, Mrs. Green, who was the one that was off slow. The winner wired the field. Mrs. Green did not get off to a good break. She was a big price as a Linda Rice first-time starter on the turf. Osiris set the pace every step of the way. Frosted Oats, I should say, was right behind her, held on for second. And then you've got DeVilly, who we kind of know her game at this point. Out of this race, the one that I wanted was Mrs. Green.
Second-time starter from Linda Rice. We know how prolific she is with her numbers there, over 25%. The more important part of that stat is they almost always show more speed than they did in their debut. So you would imagine that this filly is going to benefit from the experience like most of her horses do, and break a little bit. Now, she's not great with the turf sprints for someone who 30 years ago was fantastic with her sprinters and known for getting 2-year-olds ready and the firsters ready. It's always weird to say that about Linda with the second-time starters, but yeah, this horse is definitely a player in here. This is a wide open race. I mean, if you're playing the late pick 5 or the pick 6, I threw 4 horses out in here. I would want to use 8 or 9 horses in this race. This is
I think there are a lot of things that can happen in this race. Yeah. Tell me about Wings Like Eagles. She's a wild card in here for sure.
She did not break well in her debut, going 5.5 at Churchill Downs over that strange course, and she came running late from her outside draw. She was purchased out of that race by Bill Mott and the Connections. I remember saying to myself when she ran first time out, I'm betting her back. Out of a race where you thought there was a lot going on, I wanted to bet her back, and now she shows up in New York with my man Mott.
Gift wrap
gets
for
Jose
you.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I was like, oh, that's where she is. This is going to be pretty easy. And then I see the morning line of 10-1, and you say, wow, she ran so well last time. And then you go through the race, she's supposed to be 10-1 on the morning line. There's a lot going on in here. But I think with some routine improvement, trainer change, positive change to Mott, positive rider change to Jose. She gets a little gas on paper to run at in here. I thought she was 4 minutes, and the 7 furlongs I think will help her. I don't want to say she was logical, but for me, she was very logical because I was looking to bet her back in Kentucky, and now she comes into my own backyard. So.
Gather the facts. Meanwhile, she's 7-2 on the morning line. I think that's just kind of the race that this is because it's Chad Brown with a horse that finished second on debut. She's got the outside post to contend with. Manny Franco will be aboard. Blinkers on. She ran fine in that debut and certainly could be a player in here. It just, again, felt like there was so much else going on.
I like the Charlie Roode race. I think cutting back to the 1 turn 7/8 is going to hit him right between the eyes. Her rather. She's 10-1 on. That's what I mean. You're going to find. You want to talk about value? This is probably the best betting race of the day because I really think 8 or 9 horses can win this race. I want to use her. I think you have to use Mrs. Green. The other Clement, the number 2, is a half to multiple stakes winner, Plum Ali. She debuted on the Tapeta down at Gulfstream Park in a race that was intended for the turf. Going 2 turns, right? She didn't load in the gate that day. Let's see how she behaves. But, you know, again, you would think that these two, when Rod Ortiz and Clement team up, 30%, good things happen. So I think you have to use her. Hey There. Finished ahead, the number 5 finished ahead of Wings Like Eagles last time. She makes her New York debut. She has a license. A lot going on in here, Casey.
And you've got a first-time starter, Jane Mast, who's certainly bred for the turf. Cherie DeVoe has been sharp with shipping a couple horses here to New York, even sending to Canterbury as well with no turf at Churchill Downs right now. So wanting to get a chance to run on the grass, I thought she was a little bit interesting as well.
Even the 9 Frosted Oats, second time off the September layoff for Mott. Yep. The other Mott in here gets Lasix for the first time. Louis Saez. There seems to be some pace signed on in here, but she could be the speed of the speed, and maybe she leads them around there. Lots going on in the nightcap.
Yeah, good luck if you're playing multi-race sequences and you are alive to a few horses in that nightcap. That'll be a fun one, and looking forward to getting a chance to see those horses today. But that'll do it for Talking Horses on today's show. As I want to remind everybody, you can play along with everything over at Naira Bets. If you don't have a Naira Bets account, what in the world are you waiting for? Now's your time. Go sign up at NairaBets.com or on the app. Use promo code MATCH200 for up to a $200 deposit match bonus. You can play the 5 days per week bonus. Anthony will have all of the information that you need as far as that's concerned. Opt in on Monday, play every day of the week, and you get a $20 bonus on Saturday. And just a few more hours. It is currently 12:09. For those of you doing the countdown, you have until 5 p.m. today to register for the Belmont Saturday contest, $300 buy-in. You can win cash and seats to next week contests as well. And in just a few minutes, 21 minutes to be exact, America's Day at the Races kicks off at 12:30 on FS2. We'll be taking you through the first few races on the set. And I'll be doing Talking Horses with you again tomorrow.
Can't wait. First 5 at Churchill, first 4 here at Belmont for us on America's Day at the Races. Comes your way soon. Can't wait. Bart Scott said that, I believe, the Jets fan. Dave Don keeps winning races, so we have to keep bringing the Jets up. Can't wait.
That's right.
Him and his famous Jets hat.
Yes, and yes. Impressive yesterday.
Yeah.
3 in a row for him. Yeah.
I was right down there with my friends Mike and Lauren, booting yes and yes home. To no avail. Did not have my man Johnny Toscano, Johnny T, in the finale to close out the pick 5.
Oh, yeah. That horse ran well.
Could not find raw courage. He ran really well. Yeah, good for them.
He did.
Good for them, bad for my Naira Bets account.
Well, it's another day. You have more opportunities today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Talking Horses. For now, we send it up to track announcer John Imbriel, the one and only, for a reprise of Scratches and Changes.